Good morning, everyone. It's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. So today we are going to make some autumn themed cards, and I'm going to be using the Autumn Expressions bundle. So this is the bundle I'll be using, but I'm also going to be using a punch. So one of the things that I kind of miss about some of the autumn themed stamp sets that we have are pumpkins. So I'm going to be making some pumpkin cards using this Autumn Expressions bundle, and I'm going to be using the Bee Builder punch. So I'm going to show you how to create these cute little pumpkin cards and then just use some of the supplies in this bundle to, decorate the pumpkins with the leaves and stems and things like that. So this is the bundle. This is what the stamp set looks like. And then it does have a coordinating die set. So I'll be using some of the dies in here to create my little pumpkins. So these are just some of the cards. I have 6 different card ideas that I want to share with you, but I'll walk you through a couple of them and just give you some fun ways to use this particular bundle in a different way. So good morning, everyone. So these are the little pumpkin cards. So you can create little pumpkins using oval shapes like a punch or a die. You can also create little pumpkins using circle shapes. But today I'm going to use a little bumblebee and show you how to create these little pumpkins. So these are the cards, and I'll bring them all back and show them all to you after we make some of these cards. But this is the one that I'll start with. So I'm using some of the pattern paper from the Iconic Celebration Designer Series paper pack. I believe that's out of stock, unfortunately, right now, but it will be back in stock. So the first thing that I want to show you is how to create this little pumpkin. So I am using this bee builder punch. So it has, of course, the bee body and the wings and things like that. And basically, what I did is I just took some Cajun Craze cardstock and I just punched out 2 of these from some Cajun Craze. So I'm going to punch those out right away. Oops, little punch pieces everywhere. And then basically what I did is you could use it this way. And I suppose you could use this as the little topper for the pumpkin, but I decided not to do that. I decided to just cut this little stinger off. So you just kind of round off the edge of this bee body, and you have just a really nice little oval shape that you can use to create the pumpkin. So I did that with 2 pieces of the Cajun Craze, and then I used a piece of designer paper. So basically, this is how I created the pumpkins. So I'm going to adhere these together. I can get my glue to work. It's a brand new bottle, kind of. Let's see if we can get some glue out here. There we go. So you're going to just adhere 2 pieces together. You're going to overlap them, whoops, like this. And then you're going to take this piece and put it right over the top. So it kind of gives you like a 3D style pumpkin. And now I have to find my dimensionals. Oh, so we'll just pop this up. So I like creating little pumpkins like this to use in my card making. I just think pumpkins are everything fall, so that's why I like to create them. So that is basically the pumpkin. And then what I did is I used the Autumn Expressions dies to just create some other pieces for the pumpkin. So I'm going to show you the die that I used. So there's a couple different dies. I used this one. There's a couple different leaves in here. You can actually stamp a leaf too. But for this one, I just used a die and I just created the little leaves. But this little stem actually came from this particular die in the set. So I just laid this part on a piece of cardstock to create this top piece. So I just used some pecan pie cardstock. I just laid the edge of this die on the cardstock just to create this little topper here. And that's how I created the pumpkin. So just a little different way, I guess, to use this particular die set. And of course, to use that bee builder punch. If you don't have the bee builder punch, you can, like I said, use circle shapes, or if you have some oval shapes, you can do that too. So we'll just add that. So I thought that created just kind of a cute little topper for this. And then this little leaf, you just kind of tuck this behind, and I just added some dimensionals on the back. So I'm going to do that right away. That just helps kind of hold this in place. And let's add another one over there. All right, so that's basically our pumpkin. And then you can use this any way that you want, with a variety of different layouts. So that's what I'm going to do with this. So I just started with a piece of pecan pie. I almost said pumpkin. Pecan pie cardstock for the base of the card. And then I just cut some of the designer paper. So, like I said, this designer paper is called Iconic Celebrations. And so it has some just really fun little fall designs. I love the look of plaid. So I have a 3.5 by 4 3/4 inch piece. So I'm just going to add this right to the card front. Did I say 3 1/4 by 4 3/4? 3.5 by 4 3/4. I can't remember what I said. 3.5 by 4 3/4. All right, so that's basically the background design. And then I took a piece of very vanilla cardstock and I cut it at 2.5 by 4 1/4 inches. And then I just embossed it with the Distress Tile 3D embossing folder. It's like one of my favorite go-to folders. And then we'll just add this just to add a little bit of texture here. We'll just add this kind of across the bottom. And then I just used up some little scrap pieces of early espresso. I just kind of wanted to bring in a little darker color to give it some, I guess, to just make it pop a little bit. So I have a 1/4 inch strip of early espresso cardstock. And hopefully I cut this down. All of a sudden it looked kind of big, but it's 4 1/4 inches long. So that's just going to go here. So it's the full length of, the width of this card. And then we'll just add our little pumpkin that we created. And we'll just pop that right up in the center. And then some of the other scraps I have, this is a 1.5 by 1 inch piece of early espresso cardstock. And basically I just created a little banner. So I just like to cut up the center of the cardstock and then cut in from each side to create the banner. It tends to create a straighter banner. Not always, but usually. And then this we will just adhere to the top. We'll put this right up here. So I just thought those little pieces just kind of added a lot to the card. And then I have some of those little textured dots that I used just to embellish. So we'll just add one of those up there. And then we're going to do our little greeting. So I just have a scrap piece of very vanilla cardstock. Let me just move this out of the way here. And I just used one of the greetings from the set, just says "Dear Friend." And we'll use a little bit of pecan pie ink. And we'll stamp this, let's see, right kind of towards the end. So it's about a 1/2 inch wide, maybe a little less than a 1/2 inch. It's just a scrap piece. And then I just trimmed this edge off. Just add a little dimensional to the back. And then we'll pop this up. Let's make sure I gotta add it on the correct side. So part of this is gonna tuck underneath the pumpkin. So I'm gonna tuck it underneath these 2 layers there. And then the other part is gonna just hang off the pumpkin. So that's why I have just one dimensional on there. I might have to trim that a little bit more. No, maybe not. And then you can add, the twine. I have some twine or linen thread is what it's called. You can add the linen thread or you can just leave it as is, either way. And then on the inside, I just added a little bit of the designer paper just to kind of pull in, the colors that I used on the front. So it's a pretty simple card and just a really cute little autumn themed design. So that is the first card that I have for you. Let's move this out of the way. And then the second card, I thought I would show you that you can create the pumpkin. Well, first of all, you don't have to, use the Cajun. I used Cajun craze to create that other pumpkin. But for this one, I used some very vanilla cardstock and I just embossed the pieces. So I cut them out the same way. So for those of you that may just be joining me, I'll show you really quickly. I'm using the Bee Builder Punch, and I'm basically just punching out the body of the bee. And then what I did is I just trimmed this little piece off. So this is the end of the bee. I just used my scissors just to trim that off. And it creates a nice little oval shape that you can use for creating the pumpkins. So that's how I created the pumpkins. And so for this card, let's grab these pieces. I already cut and embossed them just for sake of the video here. So I have 3 pieces. Anytime you make a pumpkin, out of these oval shapes or circle shapes, you can use whatever shape you want, oval, circle. You want to create 3 of them. So basically, we're just going to be adhering 2 of these together for the background. So we'll adhere these 2. And then the front piece is going to get popped up with a couple dimensionals. So you just add some dimensionals to this piece. And then this will cover up that overlap where these 2 overlap. So this will just get popped up right on the front like that. So then you have a cute little pumpkin. And then this time I used just the leaf shape from the Autumn Expressions bundle. So that's this. I just stamped it on some pecan pie cardstock using pecan pie ink. And then I used this little die to create this end piece, to create the top part of the pumpkin. So we'll just add this. We'll create our pumpkin right away. So that just kind of becomes the top part. And then we'll add our leaf behind this. And then you have a cute little pumpkin. All right, so we'll let that dry and we'll create the rest of this card. So I'm going to bring in some scrap paper just in case, just in case I make a mess. And what we're going to do is we're just going to stamp some of the images from this particular set. And I just thought it would be kind of neat to have, some of these autumn themed images in the background. So I'm just using pecan pie and I'm stamping on the pecan pie cardstock. And you're just going to go along and add these different images. So we'll add one here, and then we'll add a little leaf. And then we'll add another one. So it just kind of gives you a little bit of stamped images in the background. Let's get this out of the way. And then we're just going to add some different layers of pattern paper and, of course, our pumpkins. So I think this one is 2.5, same as the other one. 2.5 by 4.25 inches. So it goes the full width of the card. So we will add that. So this is very similar to the card that I just shared with you, except for we have stamped images in the background. So we'll just add that. And then let's stamp our little greeting. So I have a 3 by 3.75 inch piece of very vanilla cardstock. And we'll just grab our greeting here, stamp that. I'm just going to practice with this one just before I stamp it on there. Hopefully. Let's see if we can get that straight. That looks pretty good. All right, so we will add our greeting. I like to add the greeting first and then kind of tuck the pumpkin in there around the greeting. All right, let's get this off here. And then this is just going to go right on the bottom here. And then let's grab our pumpkin. Now you can adhere the pumpkin flat if you want, or you can pop it up. I decided to pop it up so it didn't blend too much with the background. It gives it, just a little bit more depth and dimension from popping it up. Let's add this. And then we can just pop this up right in there. And then we can add some of those little textured dots. And then, of course, you can add some linen thread if you want as well. Let's add some little dots here. So I can add the linen thread on the other side. So that's basically the design. And then on the inside, I did some stamping on the inside using the same images that I used on the outside just to kind of decorate up the inside a little bit. So this piece of cardstock is just a 4 by 5.25 inch piece of very vanilla cardstock. So very simple design, but I just like the, the kind of, what's the word, the kind of monochromatic look a little bit with the vanilla and just all uh, pecan pie. So that is card number 2. So let me bring these two back. So these two are very similar in design. These pieces are the exact same size. This one's just an embossed piece of vanilla cardstock, and this is just the designer paper, but the piece is the same size. So just kind of a fun way to play around with that. And then I decided to create some other card designs. So this one is a design I've shared before. using a 3.5 by 4 3/4 inch piece of vanilla cardstock. And this is just a 3 by 3 inch piece of designer paper and a 1 by 3. So just a very simple design. This, again, is the iconic Celebrations designer series paper. That was an online exclusive, if you're wondering where that came from. Just another fun design. Here I did some embossing with the Cajun Craze color instead of the very vanilla. And then I used one of the die cut shapes from that Autumn Expressions bundle. So that die cut actually comes from this big frame here. So when you cut out the frame, it cuts out two different size die cut shapes. So I just use that as my background there. Let's get these on here so you can see them. And then just a couple other cards. I just created this one, just, kind of played around with different layouts. And then here I just wanted to use up some scraps. So I had some scrap pieces of designer paper, and then I had one of those label shapes. So I just kind of used up scraps. This is the only card I think that doesn't have a pumpkin on it. So let's see if I can scoot all these on here for you. There we go. That'll be close. So those are the card ideas that I wanted to share with you guys. I just wanted to, like I said, create some cards with some pumpkins. And I thought that using that bee builder punch was kind of a fun way to do it. And I also wanted to use the Autumn Expressions bundle because it has a lot of great images in it for fall and some great little images that you can use to decorate your pumpkins. So I hope you guys enjoyed these card ideas. I'll get them up on the blog for you later today. So you'll have all the measurements for all the different layouts that I shared with you. And then just have fun with it. Use whatever die cut shapes you have on hand to create these pumpkins. Pumpkin cards are always fun to create. So especially, this time of year. So there you go, you guys. I hope you enjoyed these card ideas. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday and a great week. And I'll see you guys all again next week. So take care, everyone.